everybody, and welcome back to another recording. This is a basic Pilates class going through the elements you might need to know before joining one of our Zoom classes. We're going to start off in standing, and then we'll work through all the basic start positions for the exercises that we use most commonly in the classes. By all means, stop this, wind it back if there's something you don't understand. And also, please feel free to message me if you have any direct questions. For now though, let's think about posture. Pilates very much depends on good posture, so we want to be as tall and upright as we can. Let's have a think about how you could manage that. We're going to gently rock forwards into your toes, come back into your heels. Be aware of what happens when you move. Do you feel balanced? Is it a struggle when you get further forwards? Do you feel that you might overbalance and step back? That's all part of it. The sensors we're trying to wake up and use through the body are being challenged when you put yourself into these positions. So have a little play around with that. And then we're going to start to build into our neutral stance. So we're going to start with the feet. I'd like you to think of 6 points under the feet. I want you to think of 3 on this foot, big toe, little toe, heel. Same on the other foot. And those 6 points are like a tripod. Try and encourage your weight to sit evenly through those points. Ever so slightly soften your knees. Give them a little bit of a bend. And try and make sure that as you do these standing things, that you're not locking back through the knees or putting your weight more onto one side than the other. Think about coming up into your lower back now. Pop your hands as I've done. I'm going to go from sideways on so you might see it a little better. Gently tucking your tailbone under and then pushing your tailbone away from, and then again. So tucking under, coming back to centre. So what we're doing is waking up this lower part of your spine here, trying to encourage it to move. What we're looking for is the point where your spine is in the position it was designed to work best, neutral spine. So you have a small curve in this lower part of your back, but it's not extreme, either too far forward or tucked under and flattened. And also your body hasn't leant back or forwards. So building from there, try and work on finding that position, and then we're going to lift. So think of your rib cage and open up through the top of the chest so that you've got good posture and that your rib cage is sitting as best as it can on top of the pelvis. You could measure these points by taking your thumb and putting them on the bottom of the rib cage, and your fingers sit on top of the bony parts at the front of your pelvis. So I've made those 4 points. I'm going to see if my fingers are fairly level. Yes, they're not too bad today. They can sometimes be like this. So if I'm shifted over to one side. So it's a good little guide to help you feel all of these things. It's difficult for us when we're speaking to you like this on film to be able to help you feel. So you can use your hands to help guide and understand what your body's doing. Use a mirror if you're able to. That can help you get feedback as well. Okay, so we're going to come into a little bit of a shoulder shrug. Very often our shoulders sit tight and our necks get tightened and shortened. So we need to practice drawing those shoulders down away from the ears and lengthening through the neck. So let's try that again. Shrug your shoulders up. Draw them down, lengthen through the neck. Okay, so that's enough standing for now. I'd like you just to think about moving from this position. So as you step forward and step behind, how much of that posture are you able to keep? It's not very easy to do. Straight away you might find your shoulders drop or you might feel a little bit wobbly. So as you stand here and do this, try and think about what you can do, how strong you can be, how can you correct. Let's change over to the other side, because again, some of us are stronger on one side than the other. So you might feel it's easier to achieve these things. The other thing, could you just notice what's happening in your tummy? abdominal area. Can you feel any muscles working? We're going to come to that now. So, in the abdominal area, I'd like you to try and find some of the muscles, and yes, they are there. Don't try and kid yourself. You wouldn't be standing upright if you didn't have muscles working. What we want to do is to help you learn where they are and help you put them into any exercise that you do. I'm going to get you to put your hands on your hips and then take your fingers and just walk down until you're on that top bit of the pelvis. Have a dig about without being rude. You know, we need to poke in there. These are deep muscles we're looking for. Okay, so from here, we're going to try and use two different ways to activate these muscles. First off, can you give a little cough? When you cough, can you feel the movement under your fingers? Okay, that's the area that we want to be working on. So have a prod around and repeat that until you can. Maintaining that neutral position, that's what's really important. I'm going to get you to try and activate those muscles without a cough. Instead this time, can you think about using your pelvic floor muscles? Those are the muscles we use when we go to the toilet. So let's try and stop a wee to start with. So as you are standing there, try and think about how you might stop the flow of a wee. Guys, think of testicles to spectacles. Ladies, if that works for you, you could imagine it. I'd just like to think about that drawing up and in towards the centre of the body. So you might be feeling a reaction under the fingers. Let's add the back passage. So let's be a bit silly and giggly. You're trying to stop a fart coming out. Oh yes, I did just say that. So you're standing here in the middle of an important lineup, and you know you've got to speak to somebody. So you're standing tall and proud, but all of a sudden you have that need to let that wind out, and unfortunately you can't at this moment. So how do we stop it? Well, we squeeze like mad, don't we? We've all been there. So can you think about that back passage? So just engage through the back passage and see if you can make some action happen under here. It won't be as strong as the one you've just felt. But if you can work back passage through the middle of the legs to the front passages, then you're starting to get some activity in these muscles. Okay, what we want is to be able to engage those muscles enough so that you can move, but not so strong that you can't move and it's difficult to hold it. So you've got to judge that. I say it's the point when I first begin to feel something happening under my fingers. So let's work with that for now. Let's get that movement again. So we're going to step forwards and back. Stepping forwards and back. But this time keeping that little connection going through the pelvic floor. Let's do one more and then change on to the other side. So step forwards and back. So thinking about how you can keep those muscles working. But do you feel any stronger when you've got that connection happening in the middle? Sometimes if it hurts in your lower back, that's a sign you've put too much pressure on. So relax the muscles a little bit. Okay, well done. Come up to your start position again. Ooh. Let's move on to some upper body rotation. So this time we're going to think about some spine twist. If you could get your hands into a position like this, so you've got your fingers under your chin, thumbs on the breastbone, and then stand tall and engage those muscles. Take a moment to breathe in. When you breathe out, could you turn your head and your rib cage? Let your hips come along for the ride. Then breathe in and then gently do the same on the other side. As you breathe out, go round to the other side. Breathing in. So if you're happy with that, just get used to that breathing out on the move, breathing in as you return. That is one of many breathing patterns you'll learn in Pilates. Keep it going. What could we notice? Think of some imagery. Imagine you are trying to grow tall each time you turn. So the bones in your spine have little spongy discs in between them. We want to try and encourage those spongy discs to stay as tall and flexible as they can. Imagine you are a corkscrew and you are twisting and rotating. Well done. Come back to the centre and hold it here. Let's just think about one more little bit of move. It's into a monkey squat. So this is a basic squat that you can use to think about how you move around the house. So if you're going to bend down to pick something up. I'm going sideways on again. So we're in our neutral position. We've got this connection through pelvic floor. A little bit of a lift and you're able to breathe normally. So what I'd like you to imagine is you are on the edge of a table. And on the end of the table on the other side is something really exciting. You want to have a little look at it. So we're doing what we call a hip hinge. And then we're going to come and stand back up again. And then the same. So this time you might want to bend your knees a little bit more. But can you see I'm keeping my back in that neutral position? So as you bend, you're then using your legs more. Instead of this, which is often what happens, we tend to bend straight-legged. That puts a lot of pressure on your lower back. So, breathing-wise, we're going to start off by taking a breath in. As you breathe out, lift through your pelvic floor, hinge at the hips and gently come down into a squat as deep as you are able. And stand up again. And repeat. So breathing out, breathing in as you stand up. Well done. The next little video will talk you through the positions we use lying down, all fours and seated. Thank you for joining.